attracting the financing require a return on investment, looking at what are the impact it actually creating. So we need to be actually looking at more how we can be more transformative, more innovative into the financial aspect, not only just technologies or programming. And then if you want to be a transformative as well as more innovative into the financing side of it, you need to be look at how we actually change the traditional approach, like a grant-based financing. There has been a lot of discussion actually how we bring like a private sector, how we bring philanthropy, how we actually do the crowdsourcing. But unless or until actually you have a more systemic and programmatic approach, and what are the value proposition you're bringing, and as well as what are the cascading and compounding impact it actually creating, will not be able to demonstrate that things. So saying in a short, attracting the financing require a return on investment, looking at what are the impact it actually creating, what the research is actually bringing to the operation domain, and how the operation domain is actually cascading to creating an impact to the most vulnerable communities. So those need to be looked at very carefully. A blended financing is actually looking at how the crowdsourcing the financing from different entity, but at the same time how you can actually create a more innovation within the financial instrument, such as grant, concessional loans, guarantee, equity fund, those kind of things. And I think that is actually quite rare into this particular domain, into the polar region, that how we can actually create a blended financing opportunity to create a concessionality and develop some return on investment. One of the aspects is need to ensure that actually where you see a bankable programming, because research cannot actually create a return on investment. And if you want to play a critical role, we need to ensure that actually the research that we are actually bringing has an impact, and as well as a return on investment. But most important aspect is actually de-risking the market. GCF, where I work as a vertical climate financing, we provide those kind of opportunity to de-risking the market and with a high risk appetite to create a bankable project which could create a more climate impact into the most vulnerable communities. Polar region is very unique in a sense. Polar region, it could be considered as an asset class, like water. The asset that belongs within the polar regions, especially the water, as well as ecosystems, are very critical for global goods. But at the same time, what are the value proposition and proper impact it could create? Other than the asset class, we also need to look at actually what are the result framework that we can actually create, so that actually it could measure the impacts into the ground. And once you have those impacts, it will be able to create a convergence between the public and private sector through various kind of mechanisms. So many other instruments are already demonstrated in many parts of the world that could be easily brought into the polar region to demonstrate that how we can actually save this critical asset. I would like to see actually we actually come back to the 1.5 degree state, so that actually there is a less melting, as well as we can actually ensure that a future for our next generation, our children, who will be actually brought up and they are not actually suffering with a catastrophic disaster. We need to do our best actually to safeguard our future generation, to ensure that actually there is a policy, ecosystems, as well as regulatory function are in place, so that we actually have more systemic and programmatic approach rather than doing a project by silos. So we need to work together in a more collaborative approach and understanding the challenges that are actually ahead of us and how we can actually tackle those challenges to saving our future generation.